Hey guys, welcome to another LeetCode tutorial. In this video, we'll be looking at problem number 66 that's called as plus one. You can see that it has been asked by Apple, Adobe, and Google and other different companies. So let's try and understand what the problem statement here is. So you're given an array of digits, or integers, but you are asked to consider it as a large integer represented in the form of array. So when we are given an array of integers like 1, 2, 3, we need to think in terms of an integer called 123. Okay. Similarly, when you're given a digits of 4, 3, 2, 1, it's 4,321. That's how you need to read it. Also, similarly with number 9, it's although it's like a single element, you just need to consider it as just number 9, integer number 9. Okay, and now let's try to understand what after that. What so you have understood the first part. Okay, we are considering it as an integer. So what do I do next? So the next thing that we need to do is where each digits. Okay, so basically what we need to do is increment the large integer by 1 and return the resulting array of digits. So when they say large integer, we shouldn't be confused by the largest integer within the array. It's basically, if you look at how an integer is structured, it starts from most significant to least significant, right? And then when you are incrementing the value, you always add the value at the very end, that is at the units position. So let's go through the constraints and then I'll walk you through the test cases. That'll make it very clear. Okay. Now the constraints are digits.length, which is the array that we are getting within the function, is at least 1 in length and less than 100 in length. So we don't need to work on or like add a condition to check if the digits array is empty. Okay. The second thing that we need to keep in mind is digits of I can be anywhere between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. Okay, it could be any number from 0 to 9, not 1. Sorry, it will be anywhere from 0 to 9, including 0 and 9. The third part here is digits does not contain any leading zeros. So the digits array will never have a 0 in the first position, that is at 0 index of the array. Okay. So these are all the constraints. Now, if you take a look at the digits first example, so what they are giving us a digits of 1, 2, 3. That means we are considering it as 123, and then you need to add plus 1 to this integer. So 123 plus 1 is 124, right? 123 plus 1 is 124. So our digits array should, the result of our digits array should be 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 4. Similarly, if you have digits of 1, 2, and 9, here what will happen is when you increment 9 by 1, you don't get a single digit, right? You get a double digit number, which is 10. But our answer, if you just add plus 1 to the last element, it's going to look like this: 1, 2, and 10, which is not the right answer. That's why you need to consider this as an integer, like the whole array as an integer. Then you know that, okay, 129 plus 1 is 130. So that will be our, then the result will be, uh, okay, so this is wrong. So this will be the above array result is wrong. 1 to 10 is wrong. So the actual result should be 1, 3, 0. Okay. All right. This is the expected value. We can talk about the approach later, but this is the expected value. Similarly, when you are given an integer array of 9, then what should happen is it should result in 1, 0. Okay. That's how this should work. So these are the given arrays and the expected values that we have. All right. Now let's talk about the approach. If you carefully observe in the first example, we have 1, 2, 3, and then we are just adding plus 1 to it. That means we are going to the last element within the array and then adding a plus 1 to it. So it is 124. This is like a very straightforward thing to do. Okay. And in the second example, what we need to do here is we are going to the last element as usual, and then incrementing it, but you just need, so within the 2-digit number that you get, 10, you just replace 9 with 0, okay? And then you need to remember that there is a carry forward of 1, okay? And then what you do is, since you have already replaced, so it will look like this: from 1 comma 2 comma 9, if you replace 9 with a 0, it would look like 1 2 0, but there is a carry forward of 1. Then you know that uh, you need to move to the last but one element. So you've already updated last element, but looks like there is still a carry remaining. That's why you need to move to last but one element, and then you should check if the carry is present, and then increment that value by 1. That will make it 130, which will result in our correct solution. Yeah, correct answer to our solution. The third case is here is, you have an integer of 9. Okay. Now, as usual, you are going to replace. Let me add these steps here. So what will happen is, first and foremost, you are going to add 9. Sorry, from 9 you are going to replace it to a 0, and then a carry will forward of 1 will be present. Then then you check if there is a carry remaining after you are done processing the array. If there is a carry, then all you need to do is, you just need to add a 1 to the front of that array. So that will make it 1 comma 0. So these are three different cases that I wanted to cover, which is going to help us solve any test case where our value is digits.length is less than or equal to 100. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk through the approach of solving this. As you can see that in the first example, we have directly gone to the last element and then simply updated the value. So that is one way, or a single path within our code that should exist. But if you look at the second one, we had to not only update our last digit, but also go to the last but one digit and then update that as well. So that means there is a possibility for us to like loop through different elements at different indexes, and then keep on updating based on the requirement. Now, for that, we will have a for loop, right? You can directly update the last value. If everything looks good, you're fine. But if the last value contains a 9, then you might have to replace that 9 with a 0, and then move to the last but one element, right? And then you might have to do it for all the other elements which are preceding that element, depending on the value that you get. If it's a double digit value that you get when you add 1 to it, then you might replace that value and then move forward. uh, Sorry, move backward. All right. So that's why we are going to start our for loop with, at the end of the array, so digits dot length minus 1, and then you will go all the way till I is greater than or equal to 0, and then you decrement the value of I, right? What you are going to check here is, within the for loop, is the first thing that you will check is if digits of I is equal to 9 or not. So this is what we do. We should have an else condition as well. What if it's not a 9? So let's come back to this special case. If it is 9, what we need to do? If it is not a 9, it's pretty straightforward. All you need to do is digits of I is equal to digits of I plus 1. Okay. Instead of directly calling it as 1, I'm going to store this value called carry within a variable called 1, and then call it carry. I'll explain why this will be handy in the other cases. So I've added 1 to it. Okay. And then now that I added 1 to it, I should actually remove this carry. We have already used up our carry, so we don't need a carry anymore. So I'm going to reset that to 0 and break from our for loop, because we have directly gone to the last element and then updated it with our plus 1, which is carry, and then you're done. But what if the last digit is 9? In this case, we will be simply updating our digits of I to 0. In that particular iteration, you are simply changing 9 to 0. Okay. And then if you come out of this if else clause, we are moving our I pointer to the last but one element. Okay. So taking our 1 to 9 example, so what happened is, in the first iteration, you have changed it to 1 to 0 when the pointer was here, and then now the pointer will you have updated the last value to uh, 0 and decremented the I pointer to point to this element. Now you are going to check if digits of I is equal to 9. It's not. It's actually 2 in this case. So you simply add digits of I plus carry. Carry, we already have the carry here. So you add the carry to our digits element and then remove the carry, which is like you nullify the carry to 0 and then you can break out of it. So that will result in 1, 3, 0, and then you are breaking the for loop. Okay, now this solves for the case of 129. Now let's go through the last case where we have a digit as 9. In this case, what will happen is we have a single array element. We'll start off with a carry, and now we are looping through the single digit array. So I will be 0 because digits dot length is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, which will point to the current element. And then we are going into the for loop because I is greater than or equal to 0. That's true. Now we'll check if digits of I is equal to 9. That is the case. So we'll be replacing digits of I with 0. So the next value will be 0. Okay. And you decrement the value of I. When you decrement the value of I, um, you go out of bounds. So when you go out of bounds, your for loop will automatically break. But the resultant answer is 0 now. So what we need to do is we should add a 1 to the front of this array. We can add it based on our carry. So if our carry is still remaining, then we'll be adding 1 to the front of the array. Remember, like whenever you add a value, whenever you add carry to a digit, you are immediately nullifying it. But we didn't get a chance to nullify the carry in the case of digits equal to 9 because that's the only value within the array, and then you immediately went out of bounds in the first iteration. Now, what should happen now is the carry is remaining. So we'll simply add digits dot unshift. Unshift in JavaScript is to add elements to the front of the array. So you simply add carry to the digits array and then return our digits array. So that should return the correct set of values within the digits array. Now I'm going to copy this code and try to paste it here, and we'll check this one more time before we run this code. Okay, so we start off with a carry. We start off with the for loop where I will be the end of the array, I greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus. If it is a 9, you replace it with 0. If it is not, you add a carry and then clear or nullify the carry and then break out of it. Even though you are done processing through all the digits, if you still have a carry at the remaining after you process all the digits, then you need to add the carry to the beginning of the array and return the digits. That's what should return the right set of digits. Okay, I'm satisfied with this solution, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. You can see that it has passed for all the test cases. 43021 is 432, and then this is 1 comma 0. You can add a bigger value like 99 and 9 and check, because this is the only special case that we have. So yeah, it's 1000. I think I'm good with the solution. So we can go ahead and submit this. You can see that the solution has been accepted, and let's go back here. And I think, yeah, that's how you solve this problem of +1. Interestingly, this has a fair share of likes and dislikes, but this has been asked a lot frequently in a lot of interview questions. So I hope you find this useful and practice this once again after you go through this tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer the questions. Yeah, if you have learned something from this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.